Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to another episode of Quran Weekly, where we read the Quran in Arabic but discuss it in English. My name is Ahmad,
And my name is Safa.
and we're happy to take you on to continue the journey across chapter 6, which is Al-An'am, which kind of translates to the cattle, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Before we begin, we must always start by explaining that we are not linguistic scholars, we are not Arabic scholars, we are not Quranic scholars. We are merely learning about the Quran and sharing our learning experience with you. So we are forming opinions, we are learning, we're trying to see what we understand from it. And we understand that this may not be correct or accurate. So if you have a different perspective, please feel free to share it with us. The more that we discuss and the more that we engage, the better that it is for us. And as now per usual, please, if you watch the series, like, comment, and subscribe, because it really helps the channel grow and more people join. And I saw a lot of you subscribed since the last time, so I'm kind of very grateful for that. You get hearts. It's very cool. It makes me very happy. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Yeah. Anything you want to say before we start?
No.
Then we begin with, as we usually do, which is أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم and بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم, which means I seek refuge from God from the devil, and in the name of God, who is most merciful and whose mercy is most encompassing. And off we go.
وله ما سكن في الليل والنهار وهو السميع العليم.
Okay, and it starts with an and for him. So what's the previous verse, just to kind of double check? Ask him, a prophet who belongs to everything in the heaven and the earth. Say to God, to Allah, to God, and to take mercy upon himself. He certainly gather you above the day of judgment, about which there is no doubt, but those who have ruined themselves will never believe. And to him belongs, or dwells, or lives, is whatever lives in the day and the night and the day, belongs to God, and he is all hearing and all knowing. These are also the names of God, and there are 100 names for God, of which all hearing and all knowing, almighty, all powerful, all most kind, most merciful, these are all names of God, which are powerful. Anything you want to add before we jump to the next one?
قل أغير الله أتخذ وليا فاطر السماوات والأرض وهو يطعم ولا يطعم قل إني أمرت أن أكون أول من أسلم ولا تكونن من المشركين.
Okay, so this is a passage that we see directed to the Prophet. Say, or it also can apply to more people, but let's just say what it says. It says, say, should I take other than God a protector, a guardian? God is the creator of the heavens and the earth, and he is the one who feeds, and he is not fed. So this is kind of an interesting expression. God provides, but God is not necessarily provided for. Say, indeed, I command that I be the first who submits to Allah, and here we see the word Islam, which is the word for Muslims, and do not be from the polytheists. So yeah, here the understanding is that it says to the Prophet, but it can also apply to anyone. Anyone can say, do I take a guardian other than God, originator of the heavens and the earth, who provides for all and is not in need of provision? Say, I have been commanded to be the first to submit. I guess this is when he comes to see, to be the first to submit is also an interesting perspective, because even before the time of Muhammad, there were others that submitted to God, so that he technically wasn't the first. But I think for me, this strikes as an expression of like being the first. Like, I have to be the first. I can't ask anybody else to submit to God. I cannot ask anyone to be, to submit themselves to God, and do not be of the polytheists, the ones that really.
Yeah, but also for Muhammad is the first in Islam. So there are, of course, other people who submitted to God before, but not in the religion of Islam and not with the knowledge of the Quran.
Yeah, but if we take the word aslam to be submits rather than to be a Muslim.
Yeah.
So then there are previous cases, which for me kind of makes this
Can be both.
makes this a little bit more generalized.
Yeah.
But I completely understand how the first being refers to the Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah.
But yeah, the message is clear. God provides. God belongs to everything in the heaven and the earth, and God provides. And he is not fed. That was kind of an interesting. He's not provided for, which is kind of it brings a concept to mind of like, why do we pray? Why does God need us to pray? Because it felt like we were doing the prayer for God, but I think that's kind of my misunderstanding of it, where prayer is for ourselves and for aligning ourselves to God, but it is not for God's sake. God is not in need of what you do. God just wants you to be the best version of yourself and be humble and be connected to Him. Just a food for thought.
قل إني أخاف إن عصيت ربي عذاب يوم عظيم.
Okay. Also, I have an interesting thought about this. Say that I am afraid or I fear that if I disobeyed God, a punishment of a day that is mighty. And me personally, that's not what motivates me. I'm not motivated to avoid hell. I'm more motivated by the desire to do good because I believe in good. But I'm not afraid of, like, I'm not doing the good things because I'm afraid if I don't do them, I will go to hell, which is kind of an interesting. But here it's yeah.
But I believe that it's not the same for everyone.
Yeah, some people.
I don't think that everyone is motivated just for
Doing good. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's just a personal difference, and that for some people this can definitely make. But then we tie it into what's being said. So, even if we say this is being said to the prophet.
Yeah.
Then this is also an argument that he can use against anytime somebody tells him, don't do what you're supposed to be doing, or do something else, or give us freedom, or like we saw a few discussions when he was doing rulings between the Jews, between the Christians, and he was giving out precisely what God had prescribed and not weighing into other desires. And this can be like a way to protect yourself from disobeying or from straying from the path. Yeah.
من يصرف عنه يومئذ فقد رحمه وذلك الفوز المبين.
Okay, and whoever is averted from him on that day, and whoever is averted from it, which is the punishment of a day that is mighty, whoever is averted from that punishment, then surely he has had his mercy on him, and that is the success that is clear. So it kind of ties back to the end of days, kind of ties back to resurrection, and essentially what we're all doing this for is for the final days when our lives are measured.
وإن يمسسك الله بضر فلا كاشف له إلا هو وإن يمسسك بخير فهو على كل شيء قدير.
Okay, here we see a bit of a duality. And if it touches you, or if it befalls upon you, if God befalls upon you with affliction or something negative, then there is no remover for it except for Him. So if something negative happens to you, then nothing can remove it except for God. But if it befalls upon you with good, then He is upon everything all powerful. Interesting.
Yeah, and here so it says that whatever happens to you, whether it's good or bad, it's from God.
Yeah, but there is a difference between the bad that happens to you and that the remover is only Him, and then the good that happens to you, then He is under everything all powerful.
Because it says, if Allah causes you a bad thing, then he's the only one who can remove it.
Yeah.
And if he touches you with good, then he is also capable of everything.
Yeah.
So in a way, it means that anything good or bad that happens to you, it's from God. And if it's something bad, then only God can remove it.
Yeah. It just makes me think about all the things that
Yeah, me too.
that happen to us that are bad.
Yeah.
And like, what's the purpose of it and what's the drive behind it? And I guess it calls to mind that whether good things or bad things happen to you, keep God in mind, because God is.
Yeah, it is interesting because also today I heard something very interesting. Yeah, it's like that for everyone you have a certain fate or destiny, and whatever you do, if it's not destined for you, you're not gonna get something that's not for you.
Yeah.
So it makes you think about your whole life and how it all works.
Yeah. And a lot of times I find myself like stressing or wishing something that wasn't the way that it was, but I think everything is in its design the way that it's supposed to be. You're supposed to get what you're supposed to get. You're not supposed to get what you're not supposed to get.
Yeah, I think you will be at peace if you believe that everything is just the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult because always wherever you are in life, you always want something more, or you're not happy about something.
Yeah. Yeah.
وهو القاهر فوق عباده وهو الحكيم الخبير.
Yeah, and this kind of ties the whole concept back together. And he is the subjugator. He reigns supreme over his slaves, and he is all wise and all aware. And it's kind of this also kind of ties me back to what I do in therapy and try to figure out in therapy. A lot of the times, like I feel it's like thinking that you are responsible for your life versus an external force is responsible for your life. They call it locus of control. Is it your responsibility or is it everything's responsibility? And the answer is somehow both. That you still, just because it's God's decision and God's power and God's premise, doesn't mean that you should throw your hands up and say, I shouldn't do anything. God does whatever he wants. In the end, it will fall to God's plan, but the direction of which you go to is very much dependent on you.
Yeah, but I think it's very hard to understand because if everything is up to God, then how is it up to me to decide? Sometimes you feel like, okay, then I don't need to do anything then.
Yeah.
Because also God is the one who will make me do something if it's in his...
Well, it's not make me do something. It's like God knows and God is the director and God sees everything coming together. But he also sees when you're going to make bad choices and have bad things happen to you. So he still allows that to exist. And sometimes the bad needs to happen for you to learn a lesson, for you to grow, for you to adapt. It's not that everything is going to go right just because God is good. You know what I mean? So we have to go through the journey. And there's an expression, Is'a abdi wa sa'mak, which means strive, my slave, and I will strive with you. And that's kind of the concept. Yes, in the end of the day, it all belongs to God, and he is all wise and all aware. But maybe not in this part of the Quran, but maybe in other parts of the Quran, we'll see how the responsibility of the individual is also there, just so to speak.
قل أي شيء أكبر شهادة قل الله شهيد بيني وبينكم وأوحي إلي هذا القرآن لأنذركم به ومن بلغ أئنكم لتشهدون أن مع الله آلهة أخرى قل لا أشهد قل إنما هو إله واحد وإنني بريء مما تشركون.
I really like this reader's voice.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. So it says, say, and here we can kind of see more evidence that it's talking about the prophet, but it says, say, what is a thing that is greatest in testimony? What is the greatest thing in testimony? Say, the response is God as a witness between me and between you. And he has revealed to me this Quran, and that's when we know that he's talking about the prophet here, so that I may warn you with it. And whoever it reaches, do you truly testify that indeed with God are other gods? Say, no, I do not testify. Say, indeed, there is only one God, and indeed I am innocent of what you associate. So, bari is innocent more than free. مما تشركون.
Yeah, so at the beginning it says because apparently they were asking for like a witness to confirm that the prophet is truthful.
Yeah.
And then he says, only God is my witness, and God is like the greatest witness on what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And he's the one who inspired this Quran to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so this is talking about a specific case when he was called to call witness, and he says only God is required as witness. And I also kind of find that powerful. Like it's a way of maintaining honor, which is a very Middle Eastern concept. To be like, like give proof that you are speaking truth, and where God is the only I only need to prove it to God, and God is a witness, and God. So it's kind of like that translation.
God is my witness.
God is my witness as an English translation. It's like such a powerful statement to kind of tie your connection. And I wouldn't use God as my witness if you're lying, because that sounds very, very dangerous.
Yeah, but actually they do use that until now. God is my witness.
God is my witness. It's a very popular phrase.
Yeah.
الذين آتيناهم الكتاب يعرفونه كما يعرفون أبناءهم الذين خسروا أنفسهم فهم لا يؤمنون.
This is kind of interesting. Those that were given the book, the scripture, they recognize him. So here it's understood to be recognize Muhammad as they recognize him is what's being said. As they recognize their own sons.
I think it means they know the book. It goes it refers to the book. So those who were given a book and they know this book as they know their.
I also read it in my mushaf.
Yeah.
The translation here and the translation that I saw in the other mushaf, that the understanding was يعرفونه, because they say they recognize him, but him could also refer to the book.
Yeah, here the translation I read here. Okay. That they know Muhammad like they know their sons.
Like they know their sons.
But it can also be like they know their book. I don't know.
I didn't think about it before. Now that you said it, الذين يأتينهم الكتاب يعرفونه, which means those who have been given the book, they recognize him, and him can be applying for the book.
They know the book, yes, because it's also they know. It's not recognize. It's they know it, or it can be they know it or they know him. I don't know.
Yeah. But like it's kind of knowing that it's true.
Yeah.
As they recognize their own sons, and those who have lost themselves, then they do not believe. Okay, interesting. But yeah, it kind of shows a beautiful connection between the people of the books, the Jews, the Christians, and the Muslims, that for those of true faith, there is instant recognition between them amongst these concepts and topics.
ومن أظلم ممن افترى على الله كذبا أو كذب بآياته إنه لا يفلح الظالمون.
Okay, And who is more unjust than he who invents against God a lie, who invents lies about God, or rejects his signs? Indeed, the wrongdoers will not be successful. Yeah, very powerful. I always find it difficult to kind of follow the extremes. Who is more unjust than those who invent lies about God? Because it always feels like, is that the most injustice that can happen in the world? To invent lies against God? I feel like maybe my simple brain doesn't think that way. But yeah, we're seeing what the Quran is saying. It's clear.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But I think that's definitely a very big thing. Like it's if you have a word from God and you know that this is from God, like you know that this is from the God that created you, and then you say, and then you lie about it,
Yeah.
then that's a very big thing, I guess.
And the word adlam doesn't mean like the most evil or the most horrible or the most negative. It's adlam is the one who's the most unjust, the person who isn't doing justice is the key. So kind of
Yeah.
when you know the right answer and you say the wrong answer, so to speak. Well, prayer time.
ويوم نحشرهم جميعا ثم نقول للذين أشركوا أين شركاؤكم الذين كنتم تزعمون.
And the day that we gather all the people, we gather them all, and then we ask to those who associated others with God, where are your partners? Those who you used to claim. So it's asking those that believe in. So here, kind of like the concept that I'm trying to understand is this: does this apply to everyone that believes in entities other than God? Is it what if they believe in subsets of God, so to speak, like different parts of it? It's different mental constructs. I don't know. It's my brain. Is this what it's talking about?
The way I understand it, it doesn't have to be like you're worshipping another idol, but it can be anything. Like some people, I think, or that's at least what I think, that some people, for them, they only care about money, for example, or they only care about I don't know, they only listen to their boss or something.
Yeah.
I think in a way it's also
Everything
that's for you the biggest thing in your life, and you completely forget about God and who created you.
Okay.
Is that what you mean?
Well, I was mostly talking about specifically the polytheists, the ones that believe in other gods and other entities.
Yeah, that's definitely referring to those. Yeah.
We have a comment. Hi Ahmed. Hi Safa.
Hi.
Hi Emia Dot. Thank you for joining our channel. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So well, anyway, it's saying on the day of judgment, they will call their partners, the ones. Where are your partners? The ones that you used to claim against God. And I do think that it also talks a lot about the idols and the worshipping of other gods. So to speak.
but I think in another verse somewhere else it also says that on the day of judgment you will not find your kids or your partners or your friends to support you. So this is why also I think of it as not
a more general
only
term.
having other gods, but feeling that your support comes from other entities in this life, and then after on the judgment day you will not find any of these able to help you.
Okay.
ثم لم تكن فتنتهم إلا أن قالوا والله ربنا ما كنا مشركين.
feel the sorrow in this statement. Like, I'm just imagining on the day of judgment, this is what they would say, and then there will not be a plea for them. There will not be an argument for them, except to say that by God, our Lord, we were not polytheists. We were not those who associated others with God. You can kind of feel like this is being said when it's too late.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, I would not want to be there. It's just heavy.
Yeah.
But what about those that don't take any polytheists? They don't take any concept of God or concept, and they just live their lives just being good. Like, not necessarily the atheists, the ones that are somewhat agnostic, that don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But this is...
But actually the point is that we are not really supposed... we cannot know as humans, and we should not judge, I think.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I'm on the 15th video of the Quran reading playlist, almost caught up. Maybe I can make it to the stream up to date sometime soon. Have a nice reading. السلام عليكم. Oh, thank you.
That's very nice.
That's very lovely. Thank you so much. We're happy that you have you on board. We're happy that you're following the videos. We're happy that you're like that means a lot to us. We appreciate it. Okay, I need to just focus. That was very cool. All right.
انظر كيف كذبوا على أنفسهم وضل عنهم ما كانوا يفترون.
Yeah, and this is continuing of those that say that lie, well, not lie, but say at the end of the days when it's too late that we only believe in God. Look how they lied against themselves and lost from them what they used to invent and fabricated, and how those gods they fabricated will fail them.
Yeah.
وَضَلَّ عَنْهُمْ مَا كَانُوا يَفْتَرُونَ. And it was lost to them what they used to invent or talk
So it's
create.
like they were,
They were just lost.
Yeah.
Too little, too late.
ومنهم من يستمع إليك وجعلنا على قلوبهم أكنة أن يفقهوه وفي آذانهم وقرا وإن يروا كل آية لا يؤمنوا بها حتى إذا جاءوك يجادلونك يقول الذين كفروا إن هذا إلا أساطير الأولين.
Yeah, there's a word here that's brought up. I read the Quran with my dad as well, so there's a word that it kind of came to me, and he gave me a beautiful expression to it, which was nice. But of the people who will be regretful at the end of days without what they used to believe in to save them, are those who listen to you, but we have placed over their hearts a kinna. Kinna means covering. My dad said it was kind of like a lock, something that kind of prevents you from being able to get through to their hearts, so that they could not understand it. And in their ears is deafness, something that's blocking their ears from hearing. And if they see every verse or every sign, they do not believe in it until حتى إذا جاءوك, even if they come to you and argue with you, say those who disbelieve say that this is nothing but the tales of the former people. And I was sitting with my friends the other day, and someone was explaining to me, it's like, yeah, the religion of Islam, Christianity, Judaism, even the Abrahamic religions, they were the similar story to something that came from before them, that there was a previous religion with the same. And I'm like, well, that's what the Quran says. The Quran says that they're all parts of the one true God, that this is all the same concept, and that the Jewish faith, the Christian faith, and the Muslim faith, and the scriptures that we got are just ways to understand it better and evolve with it and grow with it. But of course, it's all part of the same.
What do you mean a religion before it?
That from what I understood from my friend, is that there was beliefs before Abraham that also mimicked the same kind of flow and story. And if we look at Noah, if we look at Adam,
Yeah, of course.
so
Yeah. Yeah,
of course
that's true.
there are different versions of the same thing. The Abrahamic religion is just kind of how we started evolving and growing and learning from it, but it's the same as Noah's faith and belief. It's the same as Adam's faith and belief.
Yeah.
So in reality, all of the religions kind of say the same thing. So that's kind of the whole point.
I think that starting from Moses, this is when there was a book, there was an actual book.
Yeah,
something
the
that
first
we
scripture.
can call really religion.
Yeah.
But all these prophets before, they also believed in the same God, and they were calling people to do good, and like.
Yeah.
But that actually it proves that this
is more real than not.
This is the truth.
But the message that I got was they say that this is only tales of the former people. This is all old people tales, so to speak.
Okay. And then like it developed from one to another.
Yeah, and then everyone's making their own, like wrote their own version of it, which is kind of this. So it's kind of ties into this specific verse. But I mean, like the fact that people have been saying it since the dawn of time, so to speak, is more of an indication that it's real rather than it's made up. But
yeah, but in this verse, I think what's interesting, and I think we discussed this before, that it says that some people have a seal on their hearts that they cannot understand, and they cannot that they cannot understand, I think.
Yeah. I used to always have a struggle with this. I used to feel like, why does God have some people in the world that just won't believe? And I can't answer that question, but I found more peace with it. Like before, I used to think of the concept of, if I wanted to spread religion, how do I reach the people that don't want to be reached? And the answer is, you don't. Don't try to convince people that that they should follow your religion. Don't try to, because those that are not going to believe, they're not going to believe no matter what you say.
Yeah.
So.
But also you think like, why would someone have a veil on their heart that they cannot understand? And for example, another person is able to listen and to understand and to believe. And
well, I can only speak from my own experience. I kind of had a veil over my heart for like 16 years. I walked away from religion for about 16 years because I didn't quite. For me, in order for me to absorb something, I had to like see it from a mental perspective, to kind of believe in it, to like, it had to make sense to me. I had to kind of believe in something, and I didn't have enough evidence to say that it was. It's not that I was actively saying rejecting it, it's just that it didn't make sense to me. And only through going through a life crisis and seeing death up front was I really, it shook me to my core to kind of open the veil to my heart. So I also think that sometimes it's a part of our journey. Some parts of their journeys are supposed to be parts where you don't really believe, or you have a cover over your heart, and then some parts of your journey are, a little bit more open. What is happening?
Interesting.
But like, so for me, it was a part of the journey. And for others, I can't answer as to why they have veils over their hearts.
Yeah, I can't. I can't as well. But it's just that it's a question that comes to you when you read this.
Yeah.
Like, why would some people not be able to comprehend it in any way?
It used to frustrate me as to why, but now it gives me comfort. And even if I'm going to start preaching and talking about it, because that's the whole point of this channel, it's not my job to convince you. It's my job to inform you, and then it's entirely up to you. And this is what ties back to the concept of, is it God's decision? Is it our decision? We still have a choice to make. We still have a power over whether we believe, whether we try, whether we do, whether we pray. And we will reap the rewards of it or suffer the consequences of it. So there's kind of like, this brings it back down to the individual level of, what is your choice? Are you going to believe, or are you going to just say these are tales of the olden times? Cool. I'm feeling very energized today. I don't know why.
Good.
وهم ينهون عنه وينأون عنه وإن يهلكون إلا أنفسهم وما يشعرون.
Yeah, continuing in theme. First, it starts by saying, and they forbid others from it, from him, from it could be the Quran, from him could be the Prophet, and they keep away from it or from him. Turn away from the prophet, distance from himself well. And here it says, and they do not destroy except themselves, and they do not perceive.
Yeah.
It ties it back to the concept of choice and free will, and it's your choice that makes your destruction, not the veil. And if you wanted at any point in time to stop having the veil and start believing, you are entirely empowered to do so. It's a cage of your own doing.
Yeah, but actually, I can relate a bit to this because, not speaking specifically about religion, but sometimes you feel like some people are doing things and they not really consciously.
Yeah.
It's like they are
Just following the flow.
In a certain
Trance.
bubble of their own, and
Yeah.
they're acting in a certain way. They're not really consciously thinking about what they're doing, but they are doing bad things or causing bad things around them without really realizing what they're doing. So I think in a way this also I actually remembered someone now that I'm reading this.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And that's the come alive moment, the come to God moment, the awakening moment is when you, like, all that God's asking you to do is be mindful and
Yeah.
keep a conscious awareness of what you're doing and what you're
Yeah.
trying to do and try to do better. And I very much relate to, because even previously, before I had my religious awakening, so to speak, I was just living life and I was kind of just going with the flow, whatever happens, trying to make money, trying to have fun, trying to do this. Like, it was very like a horse with blinders. Whereas now it's like, okay, let's take a second and let's look around, let's think, let's do, let's act. I think it's...
And it makes me also think that because I remembered someone like someone that I know now, and this person, I tried to talk to this person, and in a way I felt like as if I'm talking to a wall.
Yeah.
But now I also understand why, because this person doesn't really, it's like their heart is sealed in a way, or
Yeah.
they cannot really understand what I'm saying. And it makes you also think that maybe sometimes the right thing is not to do anything.
Yeah. Well, tell them what you think the answer is, and then take a step back. And if they don't take the answer, don't bother yourself with it, because
Yeah, but
it's not on you, it's on them.
you also don't need to tell them, in my opinion.
If you want to, you don't have to.
No, you don't have to,
Yeah.
because like sometimes you get the feeling, oh, I have to do something, I have to say something, I have to fix it in a way. But now I feel like actually I don't have to say anything, because this person is not gonna listen.
I'm of the belief that if you're in my life, I have to tell you. You don't have to listen, but I have to tell you, so that when you later find out, you're gonna be like, why didn't you tell me? I'll be like, no, I told you. You just chose not to listen.
Yeah.
But I need to, like, for me, I need to at least say it so that they hear the concept, and then I take a step back and be like, what, you do whatever you want to do. I just need to tell you, I don't necessarily agree with what you're doing. You know?
Yeah.
السلام عليكم Romeo.
ولو ترى إذ وقفوا على النار فقالوا يا ليتنا نرد ولا نكذب بآيات ربنا ونكون من المؤمنين.
All right, talking about when it's too late. And if you could see, if they were made to stand over by the fire, and they said, oh, woe us, if only we were sent back and we would not deny the signs of our Lord, then we would be from the believers. And this is regret in the last moment, saying, oh, if we could do it all over again, we would believe this time, which is just too little too late, unfortunately. So that's why we have to sit, we have to think, we have to contemplate, we have to try and grow and think about what's right and what's wrong when we still got the time, before the test comes. Okay.
بل بدا لهم ما كانوا يخفون من قبل ولو ردوا لعادوا لما نهوا عنه وإنهم لكاذبون.
Yeah, zeroing in on, because they said if we go back we would believe. It says, nay, it became manifest to them what they used to conceal from before, And even if they were to sent back, they would have fallen back to what they were forbidden from, and indeed they are certainly liars. So even if they were given back, even if they're given the same opinion, it would not make a difference. So for me here also, there's kind of like an acceptance that some people are just not going to be believers. Some people are not going to do good. Some people are always just going to do what they can. So protect yourself against them, I guess, is the takeaway that I've got.
وقالوا إن هي إلا حياتنا الدنيا وما نحن بمبعوثين.
Yeah, and in the world that we're living today, they say, indeed, it is only except, it is not except our life of the world. There's nothing in this world beyond this worldly life, and we are not, we will not be resurrected come the time come. That's what they said. This is past tense, but for us, it's present tense. It's what they say today. Like, there's all you see is what you can touch, see, hear, and feel. That's all that exists.
And I think many people believe in this. That this is it. Like there is nothing else.
If they can't prove it, then it doesn't exist. Even though life is an insane miracle.
Yeah, but also in my opinion, like when I think of it, like if I'm like for an atheist person to believe that this is all there is, don't you think that this is a bit weird?
Well,
like, you think that this would be like very
I understand
superficial? I don't know.
I understand the argument, and I understand the need for having evidence. Like for me, I had a spiritual awakening, and I had a crisis, and I had death and suicide, and it was kind of, it shook me to my core and made me open my eyes. And then when I opened my eyes, I felt and I believed.
Yeah.
But before I opened my eyes, I needed something to show me that this was the right way. So I kind of understand their perspective. It's not that they're saying we're sure there's nothing outside of it. It's they're saying, well, we don't have a reason to believe in it.
But some people say that there is nothing beyond it.
Some people for sure, but mostly because the way they do it is scientific validation.
Yeah.
If they can't engage with it, if they can't interact with it, if they can't see it, then it's not necessarily real. And I kind of understand that. I kind of need that evidence because I was also that type of person for quite a long time.
Yeah.
So I get it, but it's
I just find it strange.
Yeah.
Like if this is all there is, then I think it would be like life would be so unfair in so many different ways.
Well, those people say that life is unfair.
They say that it is unfair.
Yeah, and they say that that's what life is. Life is just one big unfair pot, and they accept it.
And what's the point?
They don't have a point to it. The point of life is life.
Then it would be just stupid,
Yeah, but that's what their perspective is. Their perspective is there is no grand scheme, there is no grand design. It's just life.
A lot of unfairness.
Yeah, so do the best that you can to get the least unfairness to you and move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, which sad, but I get it in a way.
Yeah.
لو ترى إذ وقفوا على ربهم قال أليس هذا بالحق قالوا بلى وربنا قال فذوقوا العذاب بما كنتم تكفرون.
There's some colorful imagery.
Yeah.
But first it says, and if you could see if they were made to stand before their Lord, he will say, is this not the truth? This comes to the day of judgment. Is this not the truth? They say, of course it is. And by our Lord, Bala wa Rabbana, and our Lord, he will say, so taste the torment, the punishment with what you used to disbelieve. And that's kind of like, it's just such a, like, it's hard to describe how powerful that imagery of taste the torment. Like, okay, well, this is what you believed in all your life, so here's what the result is. And it's like the concept of taste just blows my mind because it's like really take in the flavor, take in the intensity and severity of your decision. Such a powerful.
Yeah, but in a way, this makes me think like because this is very like it feels like it's a scene that you can see.
Yeah.
So it makes you think like I think this is more of a way of God to make it more understandable to us how things
Yeah.
are, and a way to make you uh, understand better. But I don't necessarily believe that this will actually happen the way it is. I don't know.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Well, the word tara used here, my dad was actually explaining it to me. When they use the what is this called?
Dhamma?
Is it
You mean
the alif بس the maksura the one see there's two ways to write
yeah,
tara.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
the ya without the two dots.
yeah,
When it does it like this, it's a mental visualization. When it does
yes,
tara with an alif, it's a visual,
yes.
something that you see. So this is a mental
I didn't know
visualization.
that actually.
My,
Okay.
my dad explained it to me, and I asked him, "How do you know this?" He's like, "Because I studied it." There was another version of it. I might be.
Another Tara?
Yeah, yarrow. Here they see yarrow, and with the
But I think
this
this
is
is. But we need to. I'm not sure. But this is. Tara and Yaru are different because Yaru is like for plural. They. It's like they.
yeah.
Tara is for you.
Yeah, but it's the ending of it, not the beginning of it. That's the kind of
But this one has to have an alif at the end.
oh,
And Yaru has to have an alif.
okay.
It's the only correct way, I think, of having it. But I'm not an expert, so.
Yeah. Anyway, interesting. We still have the visualization, and in the end, it says to taste the torment, take it in full flavor is the
Yeah,
message.
but just what I mean here is that yeah, it is a mental image and everything, but I don't know how much like it is just for you to imagine and to
Yeah.
understand how it would be in the day after,
I
or like and this applies to all the concepts of the judgment day
Yeah.
and the resurrection and the heaven and hell and everything. I don't know. Yeah, it just makes me wonder sometimes, like if the way we understand it is the way that we are supposed to understand it, or
Yeah.
is it just that this is what we are working with here, like this is the maximum we can reach, like with this life, in this life, with this brain, this is what you will get, this is what you will understand, but maybe afterwards it's a completely different story.
True.
Do you know what I mean?
kind of, yeah, of course. When it comes down to it's not. I don't know if it's something that we're gonna see visualize in the hereafter, and maybe we have a different perspective.
Yeah.
And I do feel like our perspective changes because according to what is being said here, when the disbelievers come to the day of judgment, they will say, "No, no, no. We believe, we understand, we see." Once they give in evidence, they will also have a different perspective. So I can imagine that we would also have a different perspective come the hereafter. But yeah, the message here is clear.
Yeah, it's for you to understand. I think like it's a way to make it more understandable for
Yeah.
us. But
Yeah.
I don't know, of course.
Yeah.
This is the way I understood it.
Yeah. Okay.
قد خسر الذين كذبوا بلقاء الله حتى إذا جاءتهم الساعة بغتة قالوا يا حسرتنا على ما فرطنا فيها وهم يحملون أوزارهم على ظهورهم ألا ساء ما يزرون.
Okay. Indeed, incurred loss those who denied their meeting with God, until if when it came to them the hour suddenly, they said, "Oh, our regrets over what we neglected in it." And faratna is such a powerful expression, like what we squandered, what we wasted our times with, while they were bearing up their burdens upon their backs. unquestionably is evil for what they bear. Evil is indeed their burden. And it really carries the concept of coming to the final day and regretting what you've done. Do you have anything?
No.
Okay.
وما الحياة الدنيا إلا لعب ولهو وللدار الآخرة خير للذين يتقون أفلا تعقلون.
Interesting. Here it says, and the life of the world is not except a play and an amusement, which I find the worldly life is no more than play and amusement. That's an interesting expression. But the home in the hereafter is best for those who are God conscious, God mindful. If you do not reason, will you not understand?
Will you not reason? Or
Yeah. So it's interesting that the expression here is that the life of the world is only play and amusement.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting phrase.
Yeah, because no one thinks of it this way. Because we all take it too seriously.
Yeah.
And actually, I think this is the problem now. This is why everyone is like depressed and anxious and everything. Because we take life so seriously. Because if there is nothing other than this world, then of course you're gonna take it seriously.
Yeah.
But here it says it's only play and amusement. And about also, I think there's another verse about the things that people care about in this world, like having a lot of money, having a lot of power, having kids, having a big family and stuff. There is another verse that says al-mal wal banun zinatul hayat ad-dunya, like money and kids are like
decoration.
Just decoration. And this is just a big play and amusement for people here in this life, and then it will end. But it is very interesting because no one, I think, like, of course not no one, but like most people don't think of it this way. They take it very seriously, what you have and what you do here, and that's it. Like, you make it or you don't, or you have nothing. But
this takes me back to Jesus' teachings when he said, if someone slaps you on one cheek or hurts you, strikes you on a cheek, give him the other cheek.
Yeah.
And if you think about this concept that all of this is a game, in a game, if somebody commits a foul against you or does something negative against you, you can just brush it off and be like, hey, let's not take it so seriously. But sometimes we get so bogged down, very much like you were saying, in how serious it all feels, and we take personal offense and frustration and sadness. But we should really just take it all with a smile and say,
yeah, and I think like that's the problem today. I think a lot of people are very depressed and anxious and everything, and you see that like all the self-help books and philosophies and I don't know, everyone is just saying just don't take it too seriously, just try to look at it from a distance and stuff. So I think that this can be the solution to a lot of problems in the world today. If we just see it as amusement. If you just see the world as if it's just a play and amusement, and you're here for a certain period of time, and then you're going somewhere else, then I think you will be much happier.
Yeah.
I will even be much happier if I see it this way, to be honest.
Yeah, I highly recommend you change your perspective.
Yeah, if I see it like this, then
it's just a game.
Yeah.
Have fun with it, and if you lose in the game, it's okay. It's a part of the game. You know? Just take it easy.
Yeah.
Which I never expected the Quran to be saying, by the way. It's really a surprise to like think of it that perspective. But it's like the Quran is saying, have fun, relax, chill. Come on. But the home of the hereafter is best for those who are God conscious, should they not reason. And this also kind of ties me into it. My dad always is on my case to like save money so that I can get a house and get a roof over my head and protect me. Yeah. I'm not bothered about this worldly life. This worldly life, God will take care of me in the best way that's possible. I will do my best. I will go to work. I will build structure and home and whatever. But I'm not living my life to have a good life. The life is already good. I'm living my life for the hereafter. That's where I'm going. That's what I'm for.
But that's also a problem, because you have to also do something for this life, I think.
And I do things for this life. I have to go to work. I have to kind of be structured. I have to kind of put food. Like, there are responsibilities that I have to take care of. But all of it is play. Like, it's not, don't take it so seriously. Just get a job, get a roof over your head, get food in front of you, and then the rest of the time, just relax.
No, I agree with the part of don't take it so seriously.
Yeah. Okay.
قد نعلم إنه ليحزنك الذي يقولون فإنهم لا يكذبونك ولكن الظالمين بآيات الله يجحدون.
Okay, I'm a little bit confused by this. Indeed, we know that it will grieve you those that say...
that which they are saying will grieve you.
Okay, that which they are saying will grieve you. And indeed, do not...
They are not saying that you're lying.
No, they're not saying they deny you, but the wrongdoers...
They are denying the signs of God. They are rejecting the signs of God. So it says like... we know that you will be sad from what they are saying, but know that they are not saying that you're lying. They are not denying your words. They are denying the signs from God. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
ولقد كذبت رسل من قبلك فصبروا على ما كذبوا وأوذوا حتى أتاهم نصرنا ولا مبدل لكلمات الله ولقد جاءك من نبأ المرسلين.
Romeo's there.
Yeah.
And surely they rejected the messengers from before you, but they were patient over what they were rejected, and they were harmed until it came to them our help. And there is no one who can alter the words of God. And surely he has come to you of the news of the messengers. You've already seen some of the narratives of the messengers. This is a bit interesting.
Yeah.
So here it's saying to the messengers before you were rejected, but patiently endured rejection and persecution until our help came to them. And God's promise is never broken. Yeah, here it says God's words are never broken. Or there is no one can alter
of God's words. Yeah.
And surely he has come to you from the news of the messengers. So we've already received some of the news of the messengers. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, so it says that the prophets before Muhammad were also like their people said that they were lying too.
Yeah.
And then they were patient.
So I guess it's asking the messenger to
but they endured their people, and they endured the rejection that they faced until God's help came to them.
Yeah.
And there is no changing of God's words.
Yeah, I find it very interesting why this kind of concludes. I don't see the connection between the two.
I think because God says that he will support his prophets.
Messengers.
And messengers. So they were patient until victory came to them from us.
Yeah.
Because this is God's word that he will support them and he will help them.
Yeah.
And there is no changing that.
Okay.
Yeah. And that to the prophet, and then it ends by saying that the prophet knows about the stories that we have told you about some of the previous prophets, the stories of the previous prophets.
Yeah. Okay.
وإن كان كبر عليك إعراضهم فإن استطعت أن تبتغي نفقا في الأرض أو سلما السماء فتأتيهم بآية ولو شاء الله لجمعهم على الهدى فلا تكونن من الجاهلين.
I really love this speaker. He's such a
Yeah.
beautiful voice. And if it is too difficult, or it's more difficult for you to avoid them, if you find their denial unbearable or too much for their aversion, then فإن استطعت, then if you are able to seek a tunnel in the earth or a ladder in the heavens
In the sky.
and the skies, and you can bring them a sign from God. So this is something they're talking about what the messenger wishes. If you could build a tunnel through the earth or a ladder to the sky to bring them a sign. But if God had willed, then he would have surely gathered them all on guidance. So do not be of the ignorant. So here it's kind of talking about the desire of the messenger to be like, if you find it, if they're undeniable, then build, if you can, a tunnel through the earth or stairs to the sky to bring them a more compelling sign. But just know that if God had wanted, they would have all believed. But it is not God's intention, and we don't fully understand why, but all you have to do is do not be of the ignorant.
Yeah.
Focus on yourself.
So it relates also to what we were discussing at the beginning, that whatever you want to do to change destiny or to change the way things are, you will not be able to if it's not God's will.
And it ties it back to you in the end of the day. So do not be one of the ignorant. All you can do is focus on yourself.
Yeah.
And focus on what you're doing, and not stress so much about what others are doing, because it's not up to you.
Yeah.
So here we have the section break. Shall we continue to section? What are we're reading? Stream information. 58. Think we can do another 22 verses?
I don't know. Do you want to do another 22?
I think we can.
Okay.
Yeah, let's give it a go.
Yeah, let's go.
إنما يستجيب الذين يسمعون والموتى يبعثهم الله ثم إليه يرجعون.
There's also beautiful poetry in this. Like sometimes it's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Only respond those who listen, and the dead will be resurrected by God, and then to him they will be returned. So only here it says only the attentive.
So I think so only the people who listen are responding to you.
Yeah.
But not everyone listens.
No,
and I
for
think
sure.
on the other side it says the dead.
Yeah.
But
Sorry.
so it's kind of interesting as well. It divides people into the people who can listen and the dead.
And the dead.
So it's as if the people who cannot listen are already dead.
That's interesting perspective.
Right?
But here it's saying the dead will be resurrected for them. And so for me, the image that I had in my mind is this is the day of judgment. And the dead it's too late for them, but the ones who are alive, only the ones who live, from the ones who are alive, only the ones who listened will respond. So I kind of see your perspective, but it's just the day of, and the dead will be raised.
I think the beautiful thing is that you can take it like it works. It works both ways.
Yeah.
وقالوا لولا نزل عليه آية من ربه قل إن الله قادر على أن ينزل آية ولكن أكثرهم لا يعلمون.
Okay. And they said, if only, why had it not been that that was sent down upon him a sign from God, say that indeed God is capable of bringing down a sign, but most of them do not know. And I think this is kind of like talking about the reason why God doesn't show a sign. Most people don't know the reason why God doesn't show a sign. There's a reason for it, but there's a reason why he's not showing you the sign either. And there's a reason for this whole process. There's a reason for everything, and there's a reason for the test, and there's a reason for the lack of evidence for it. And the lacking of God's sign is coming from a lack of knowledge. You don't know why God's not showing you the sign. Now, we might know one day, but I like how it ends with "you do not know." Most of them do not know.
Yeah, and this is to the Prophet Muhammad. So I think the only sign that was given to Muhammad was the Quran.
I think so. My mom's checking
Yeah.
that fact out, and she'll get back to me.
Yeah, and I think here it refers like why there is no other sign, because like for Jesus, for example, we saw the last time like how many miracles.
He had.
Yeah. But then here it says that they are asking for more proof from Muhammad to prove that he's a messenger, and then the verse says that God is telling Muhammad to say if God is capable of giving
Yeah,
more
so-
proof, but
most people don't know.
yeah.
وما من دابة في الأرض ولا طائر يطير بجناحيه إلا أمم أمثالكم ما فرطنا في الكتاب من شيء ثم إلى ربهم يحشرون.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
There is not for any animal or any land mammal in the earth, nor a bird that flies with its wings, except for communities like you. So here it's saying all the beasts, all the living beings on the earth and the winged being, the birds in the skies, are communities like yourselves. And we have not neglected in the book from anything, then to God you will all be gathered. Interesting.
Yeah, and I was thinking the other day actually about Romeo, like I have a cat.
Yeah.
So when you think about it, like also cats are like human, like creatures, like living
Yeah.
beings, like it's a life also. And then you think like Romeo's very lucky that he's here, eating very good food, having a good life, having like
Yeah.
a home to stay in, very safe. But then when I think about the cats in Egypt, for example, like the homeless cats, who are just fighting on the streets to
Survive.
for food and to survive and everything. And why is he so lucky? And then there are other cats, but it's the same as human beings, right?
Yeah.
Like it's exactly the same thing. And I think we cannot really know what's the reason for this. But here it just says that they are also nations or like communities, like human beings, which I think makes sense. But to be very honest, I think that cats are like magical creatures. Like really, I love cats, but
Spoken like a true cat mom.
I love cats, but really, if you observe a cat, like they are very. I don't know, if you look at a cat, it's like he's always meditating in a way.
Very mindful, very demure.
Very mindful and peaceful, and you see how he's like interested in everything and looking at everything like with like
Yeah.
I think we can learn a lot from animals anyway. Like,
So what do you think this verse is saying? You think it's saying that they're all communities like us,
yeah,
and we have not left in the book and anything except to their to
and they will
and
all
then
be
the-
gathered.
to their God.
So
Which-
what it says here, that they will also be like resurrected, I think.
Which I think this is kind of also tying into the main purpose of this chapter, because this chapter is called Al-An'am, which is the
Yeah.
cattle,
Yeah.
and I think it's going to talk about a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
والذين كذبوا بآياتنا صم وبكم في الظلمات من يشاء الله يضلله ومن يشاء يجعله على صراط مستقيم.
Okay. And those who rejected our signs and our verses, someone bukmun is such a powerful expression, like deaf and blind, deaf and dumb. Deaf and dumb. And it's kind of like, it's just an expression of going like la, 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 trying to like intentionally lie yourself. And they're in the darkness. And whoever God wills, he lets him go straight, but whoever God wills, he places him on the way that is correct, that is straight. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
قل أرأيتكم إن أتاكم عذاب الله أو أتتكم الساعة أغير الله تدعون إن كنتم صادقين.
Yeah. More, from what it seems to me, it seems more of the same, but maybe I'm misunderstanding it. Say, have you seen if you come to the torment of God, or if it came to you the hour? Is it other than God that you will call if you are truthful? Answer me if your claims are true. Would you call upon any other than God? And it continues saying,
بل إياه تدعون فيكشف ما تدعون إليه إن شاء وتنسون ما تشركون.
and here it's saying, no, nay, him alone is who you call, and he would remove what you call towards him if he wishes. ما تدعون إليه إن يشاء.
No, I think it means like he will expose what you were calling
Oh,
other than him.
He would expose what you call upon him, and if God wills, you will forget with what you associate.
Yeah.
Only then will you forget whatever you associate with him. Interesting that he says that, and if he willed, he could remove the affliction that made you invoke him. Only then will you forget whatever you associate with him.
Yeah.
Huh.
ولقد أرسلنا إلى أمم من قبلك فأخذناهم بالبأساء والضراء لعلهم يتضرعون.
Okay, and certainly we had sent messengers to the nations from before you, so we seized them with adversity and hardship, so that they may humble themselves. This is a bit interesting. It kind of talks about a lot of the suffering and adversity that those communities have faced, so that they may humble themselves is the key. And we see this in the previous section that we were reading. It was talking about the great nations that kind of came before us, and that they'd failed. As great as they were, as many blessings as they were also given hardships and difficulties. And it seems that the main focus of all of this is to humble yourself. As great as you may be, as great as your people may be, may you always have a humble perspective in life.
Yeah, and we can. It's talking here about nations, but I think also it's for people.
Yeah, you could take it on a personal level.
Yeah.
That suffering through, it was talking about the messengers and it was sent before them, that we seize them with adversity and hardship.
Yeah.
So that they may humble themselves.
Yeah.
And I can speak personally from my own experience. When I've had my traumatic experience, it did humble me a lot, because a lot of my ego was so full, and then suffering such a great loss makes you really remind you that you kind of have to be appreciative and have to be mindful of God and think about the greater picture.
Yeah, and I think this it also happened to me, and I think this is what happens to everyone actually.
Yeah.
So sometimes like facing something very difficult is, it might seem like the worst thing that is happening in your life, but it might be that actually it's getting you to understand things better,
Yeah.
and to understand the world better
Yeah.
than than your superficial
Perspective.
understanding, perspective
Yeah.
of like me, and my ego, and I'm the best thing that ever
Yeah.
existed.
So even when you're facing adversity or hardship, we say Alhamdulillah. We say thank God.
Yeah.
فلولا إذ جاءهم بأسنا تضرعوا ولكن قست قلوبهم وزين لهم الشيطان ما كانوا يعملون.
So we can talk about your experience and my experience where hardship made us more humble, but there is another group of people. Then why not, if when it came to them our punishment, then instead of humbling themselves, but they became hardened. They hardened their hearts. And then here it says, and it was decorated or made fair seeming for them, the devil, the shaitan, what they used to do.
Yeah.
Why did they not humble themselves instead when we made them suffer? Instead, their hearts were hardened, and Satan made their misdeeds appealing to them. So, I mean, there's two reactions that you can have to this negative heartache. One is to be humble and to be open and to be true. And the other is that, no, you're going to get even more hard-headed. Tougher and dive into your own deeds. No, I have to be more selfish rather than...
And then when you become, and at that point you become the most destructive.
Yeah.
When your heart becomes hardens, and then all the wrong things that you're doing seem very nice to you.
Yeah.
And then you become completely destructive, I think.
Yeah. Sad.
فلما نسوا ما ذكروا به فتحنا عليهم أبواب كل شيء حتى إذا فرحوا بما أوتوا أخذناهم بغتة فإذا هم
Okay. So when they forgot about what they were reminded with it, we opened the door to them. We opened the gates to them for everything. We opened the gates to everything for them until they were rejoiced with what they were given. And when they were rejoiced with what they were given, we seized them suddenly, and then they were dumbfounded. They certainly fell into despair.
Yeah, and this reminds me of another verse that says, like, maybe you would وَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ وَعَسَىٰ أَن تُحِبُّوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ شَرٌ لَكُمْ.
You may love something and it's bad for you, and you may hate something and it's good for you.
Yeah, so here it says that as soon as these people like forgot what we have inflicted upon them of like pain or suffering or whatever, then God opened all the doors for them, so they got everything they desired, and then they became very, very happy with what they were given.
Yeah.
But then at that time they are seized suddenly, and then it's like they lost their way. That's the way I see it. Like, it's as if they lost their way, that instead of being reminded and humbled by their pain, like of what the truth is and what this world is really about, they just forgot everything and they hardened and they did everything to get everything they want. And at some point it will seem to them that they got everything they wanted, and that they have the whole world. But actually, it will not last.
For me, I see the rise and fall, the adversity, the benefits. And here it's saying those that were adverse, and then they come into the benefits, they forget all the adversity, they forget all the humbleness, they forget all the lessons, and then they will also be seized with their own arrogance, so to speak.
Yeah.
فقطع دابر القوم الذين ظلموا والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Yeah, and again, so it was cut off the remnant of the people for those that they did wrong, So the wrongdoers were utterly uprooted. And in the end, it always ends with, and all praise to God, the Lord of the worlds. And this is something that you'll see Muslims say a lot, walhamdulillah rabbil alameen, which means it's interesting that he's saying it after the remnants of the people who did wrong were cut off. So it's really saying at the end of the journey, even with the civilization falling, you still say, praise be to God, Lord of the worlds. So the main lesson here is to always give thanks in times of glory or in times of pain and suffering.
قل أرأيتم إن أخذ الله سمعكم وأبصاركم وختم على قلوبكم من إله غير الله يأتيكم به انظر كيف نصرف الآيات ثم هم يصدفون.
Okay. Say, have you seen if God took away your hearing and your sight, and He sealed upon your hearts? Which God other than God is able to bring it back to you? Back to you with it. See how we explain the signs, yet they turn away. Okay. I find this a difficult sign to kind of comprehend, because it's saying, imagine if God took away your hearing or sight or sealed your hearts, who other than God can restore it?
Yeah.
But it's very hard for me to visualize this. I don't quite understand this. See how we vary the signs, yet still they turn away.
Yeah, I also want to read this from here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's for the Prophet to give it as another
Example.
Yeah, I think.
Or I just don't fully understand it.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay.
But it just says that if God takes away your hearing and your eyes and He sealed your heart, but it's talking again about the people who are completely lost. And like, yeah, I think I get it now. So it's talking about the people who are completely lost and those we talked about who cannot understand. Like they hear the Prophet talking, but they cannot understand and they cannot comprehend what's being said. So as another sign, it says that if you are in that state, there is no other God who can save you from this. There is no other God who can bring you back your sight or your hearing so you understand.
Yeah, it's just, why would another God want to bring your sight and hearing and understanding of God?
Yeah, because it means that it just confirms that only God is capable of taking away and giving you whatever it is. So if God decided that you will not hear or understand this and takes away your sight and your hearing, then there is no changing of this. There is no one else who can change this.
Okay. I mean, I agree. I just don't understand why. But, yeah.
Yeah.
قل أرأيتكم إن أتاكم عذاب الله بغتة أو جهرة هل يهلك إلا القوم الظالمون.
Okay, this almost feels like a rhetorical question, but
Yeah.
say, have you seen if it comes to you a torment from God suddenly or openly? Will it be destroyed except the people that are the wrongdoers?
Yeah.
Which I think this is kind of like a powerful expression, because it's like, yeah, those that believe, those that aren't the wrongdoers, they won't suffer the torment. They understand its perspective in life, so to speak, right? Because we're able to be mindful, to keep thinking and to keep saying thank God, even in the face of adversity. Only the people that don't believe and are wrongdoers, then they will really be destroyed. Because for them, all their world is shattering, so to speak.
Yeah.
وما نرسل المرسلين إلا مبشرين ومنذرين فمن آمن وأصلح فلا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون.
Yep. Continuing the message that we were saying. First it says, and we do not send the messengers except as bearers of glad tidings, bringing good news, and as warners. And whoever believed and reformed, then there is no fear for them, nor will they grieve. And I think that's a very powerful message, because if you truly believe in God and you truly believe that this world is just for play, is just the kind of the appetizer for the real thing, which is coming after, then you're still able to maintain thanks and gratitude to God even in the face of hardship, and you will not grieve. Even if bad things happen to you, you kind of accept and move on and heal.
Yeah, and you will not fear.
And
so
you
you
will
will
not
not grieve,
Yeah.
and you will not be afraid of what's to come.
So whenever you're afraid or sad about your life,
Yeah,
just give thanks.
yeah.
والذين كذبوا بآياتنا يمسهم العذاب بما كانوا يفسقون.
Yeah, and the opposite hand, on those who denied our verses, and will touch them the torment, the same torment that touches the good people, with what they used to defiantly disobey, will be afflicted with punishment for their rebelliousness. And I think here afflicted is the main concept, because it's like, yeah, if you truly believe, then you're not as touched by the torment. But if you don't believe, then the torment feels horrible to you. Life feels terrible if it's going the wrong way.
قل لا أقول لكم عندي خزائن الله ولا أعلم الغيب ولا أقول لكم إني ملك إن أتبع إلا ما يوحى إلي قل هل يستوي الأعمى والبصير أفلا تتفكرون.
Okay, the last bit kind of confuses me. But first it's saying, I do not say that to you with me is the treasures of God. I do not have the treasures of God, nor do I know the unseen, and nor am I saying to you that I am an angel. Indeed, I only follow what has been revealed to me, and say, is it equal, the blind and the seeing one? Or is the blind and the one who sees equal? Do you not give it actual thought? Do you not reflect? Are those who are blind to the truth equal to those who cannot see?
Yeah,
Will you not reflect?
Yeah, I think what is referred to like as the blind and the one who can see, like the one who is on the right way, the
Yeah.
one who is the believer and the non-believer, or
Yeah.
or the one who's lost. So this is to the prophet, and then it says that the prophet is saying, I do not have like treasures of the earth. I do not know the unseen. I only know what God has inspired to me, and I'm not an angel. I cannot do certain things. And then to tell them also that.
But does the blind equal the person who's seeing? Is it? Do you just think about
Do
it?
you think that the blind is the same as the person who can see?
Yeah.
Just think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a rhetorical question, but it's very powerful. Like, I don't have all the answers. I don't have God's treasures. I'm not an angel. All I have for you is this question: is a blind man the same as someone who sees?
Yeah.
Don't you think about it? Which it makes sense, but you need to kind of really contemplate on it to kind of understand it, which I think is the importance of these phrases, these texts.
وأنذر به الذين يخافون أن يحشروا إلى ربهم ليس لهم من دونه ولي ولا شفيع لعلهم يتقون.
Okay. And warn with it those who fear that they will be gathered to their Lord, that they will not have from him other than him a protector, a guardian, and no intercessor, a person who intercedes on your behalf, so that they may be righteous. So perhaps they will be mindful. Right, mindful is more accurate than righteous.
Mm.
Yep. So warn those.
With the Quran, with the book that you have.
Yeah.
So this is again to the Prophet. So give the Quran as your proof and warn them with it. Warn those who are afraid of being returned to God, and that they don't have anyone other than God, and as a supporter or protector, or Shafi'a means like someone to
intercede, someone who speaks on your behalf.
Yes. May they be mindful of what they do.
Yeah. So it's kind of like the main message here is, people who are afraid of the Day of Judgment, tell them, don't worry, nobody other than God can protect. And for me, it's a sign of like trust in God. That's kind of like the main message here.
Yeah.
And that there's nothing to fear, so to speak.
Yeah.
ولا تطرد الذين يدعون ربهم بالغداة والعشي يريدون وجهه ما عليك من حسابهم من شيء وما من حسابك عليهم من شيء فتطردهم فتكون من الظالمين.
Okay, now this is a warning to the messenger.
Yeah.
And do not send away those who call their Lord in the morning and in the evening, and desiring his countenance, his blessings, his pleasure, his mercy. Not mercy, but saving faith with him. It is not for you to take their account on anything, nor for them to take your account on them of anything. So if you send them away, then you would be of the wrongdoers. So there must have been a specific situation that this was calling to.
Yes, it seems that there was a specific situation when like some of the believers, they were blaming the Prophet of spending time with other people who were not, like, I think there were different classes.
Yeah.
I'm reading as we are reading this, so I'm not really like expert, but I think that some people told the Prophet not to sit with like the poor people, or like some of the higher status people asked the Prophet not to sit with the poor people or something like that. And that they should be dismissed or like left to be praying from a distance or something like that. And then this is a verse that says, do not dismiss the poor people, the poor believers,
the ones that in the morning and
who are praying to God,
lunches and evenings, and they just want the countenance of God.
They
just want the blessing of God. Powerful. And if you were to send them away, then you would surely be one of the wrongdoers.
وكذلك فتنا بعضهم ببعض ليقولوا أهؤلاء من الله عليهم من بيننا أليس الله بأعلم بالشاكرين.
Okay. And thus we have tested them, some of them with others. They will say, are these the ones who are favored from God upon them from among us? Are they the ones who God favors from among us? And is God not most knowing of those who are grateful? In this way we tested some of them by the means, so the disbelievers may say, has Allah favored these poor believers out of all of us? But does Allah not recognize the grateful? So
Yeah, here it says that we tested each others with the others, like,
Yeah.
and here it says that some of the higher status people were didn't want to believe after saying that the poor people are the ones who believed, and you see it a little bit also today that sometimes people are like tested by the people they see who
Yeah.
believe in certain religions. Like, you say no, I'm not following these guys, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and in the end,
So, like, because
God,
the people who are in higher status, they would say, like, are these the people who are supposed to be, like, chosen by God? Like,
yeah, which ties back to the teachings of Jesus, because Jesus said, "Are the meek shall inherit the earth." The people who are poverty, the weak, the sick, they're the ones who are going to inherit the earth, which is a bit interesting. And it ends with God is most knowing of those who are grateful. So
yeah.
don't be arrogant.
وإذا جاءك الذين يؤمنون بآياتنا فقل سلام عليكم كتب ربكم على نفسه الرحمة أنه من عمل منكم سوءا بجهالة ثم تاب من بعده وأصلح فأنه غفور رحيم.
Okay. And if it comes to you, those that believed in our verses, then say, "Peace be upon you. It has been prescribed by your Lord upon yourselves mercy, and that he who of you, that he who of you does, who amongst you does something evil in ignorance, and then repents from after it, and does good and reforms, then indeed God is oft forgiving and most merciful." Here it's a message to those that believe and do good, but have done mistakes in their past because out of ignorance. But you do better and you reform. God is most merciful and most forgiving, and He will forgive.
Mm-hmm. So this is also to the prophet about, like, the people who believe in the signs, that the verse is to the prophet to say that, and it can be referring to the poor people who believe in God, that always when you see them, tell them, peace be upon you.
Yeah. And that if you do repent, God is most merciful.
Yeah.
وكذلك نفصل الآيات ولتستبين سبيل المجرمين.
Okay, there's one word that I'm not very familiar with. And this is how we explain our verses, so that it becomes manifest the way of the criminals. Oh, this is how we make our signs clear, so the way of the wicked may become distinct.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's for the prophet. Yeah, and that way we show you different signs, so that we show you the path of the truth, the believer's path, and the path of the
wicked.
disbelievers, the criminals, the wicked,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. A couple more verses to go.
قل إني نهيت أن أعبد الذين تدعون من دون الله قل لا أتبع أهواءكم قد ضللت إذا وما أنا من المهتدين.
And here it says, yeah, when the prophet's called messenger to respond to some of the practices and traditions of the polytheists, of those that believe in other than God, say, "Indeed, I am forbidden that I worship for those you call from besides God." Say, "No, I do not follow your vain desires. Surely if I did, I would have gone astray, and then I would not be. I would be from I would not be from the guided ones. I would not be from the guided ones.
Yeah.
So I cannot follow your desires. I cannot follow what you say. Sorry."
Yeah.
قل إني على بينة من ربي وكذبتم به ما عندي ما تستعجلون به إن الحكم إلا لله يقص الحق وهو خير الفاصلين.
Okay. Say, indeed, I am of the. إني على بينات من ربي.
Like I am guided, or I have the proof. I have a proof from God.
From God?
Which you have disbelieved.
Yeah.
I don't have anything that you seek to
hasten
with it. Judgment is only for God. He relates the truth. And he's the best decider.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the prophet speaking to the disbelievers.
Yeah. I tell you the truth as I know it. I stand upon the truth from God.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they tell him, bring forth this torment if you say that it's true.
Yeah.
And he says, it's not for me to hasten the torment. I cannot hasten it. And the decision is for God. And he relates the truth, and he is the best of deciders. So it all goes back to God.
Yeah.
And the last verse for the day.
قل لو أن عندي ما تستعجلون به لقضي الأمر بيني وبينكم والله أعلم بالظالمين.
Okay, say if it was only with me to what you seek to hasten of it, then it surely would have been decided in that matter between me. It'll be done between me and between you, but and God is most knowing of the wrongdoers.
Yeah, so he's the one who knows when it's best to bring his punishment,
His judgment down.
Or judgment, yeah.
Cool. Okay, today was a bit of a long session. We hope that you kind of stuck in with us towards the end. We appreciate you. As usual, we always end with صدق الله العلي العظيم, which means trusted is the word of God, who was most elevated, most high, and most grand, and most mighty. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next week.
Thank you.
مع السلامة.
Bye.
Bye.